everybody. Welcome to yet another episode of What's Up Watchtower. I'm Robin, and in case you've forgotten me, I haven't been around in a while. And there are some very good reasons why I haven't been around to make videos. And I'm home alone today. Mike is at a paintball tournament, and I just kind of wanted to talk about some things and express some feelings that I've been having and reasons why I haven't been making videos, and just kind of to air out some stuff. So anyways, to start with, thank you guys for all of your comments and for watching our videos, even though we haven't been making any lately, or at least very few. Mike has made a couple, but to those of you who have emailed us, I apologize in advance that I have not gotten back to a lot of you. And the main reason is just time. I am so busy with things in my life, and this sort of has fallen on the back burner, and that's happened for several reasons, mainly just because I've been pursuing the things that make me happy, and doing these videos really doesn't make me happy. So for any of you that think that we're doing this for, some kind of notoriety or something like that, these videos have not made us happy. We've done them because we felt passionately that we needed to put another voice out there, and that the more voices out there, the better, because for those people who are leaving the organization, it's very difficult, and it's starting your life over, and we just wanted to provide some support in that way, because it's very hard, and we know that. And so making the videos, although I do enjoy talking with you guys and the times that we have talked and whatnot, it's not my passion as far as like just wanting to be on the internet. My passion is, well, many things. Right now I am pursuing some acting and improv comedy, and I'm loving that and loving the people that I have come into contact with and that are now my friends through that. And yeah, just really busy with that on 5 nights. It's slowed down a little bit now, but it was about 5 nights a week, so there's very little time obviously to make these videos and to get back to all of you who have emailed us. So that's just kind of a little overview of why I have been making videos in that regards. But the other part of it is, even though we were away from this organization for 10 years before we finally started making videos and then disassociated ourselves through our video, it's a whole different thing now being shunned. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about that, and the process that I am going through with that. And everybody deals with things in their own way, and so really it's just been a mourning process for me of losing the relationships with my family. And like any good mourning process comes the different stages of mourning. So there's been sadness, there's been just disbelief that this is happening, there's been anger. That was a more recent feeling. And this is going to be an ongoing process, because it's not even 6 months now that this has been happening. So yeah, it's been tough, and I've had a lot of time to think about things that my parents said to me in our last conversation. One of the things that stands out to me is being asked the question, and it was sort of a rhetorical question, but why couldn't you just have kept your mouth shut? You know, that this wouldn't be happening as far as being shunned if I had just kept my mouth shut. Well, that's true. I could have kept my mouth shut. We could have not done any of this, and things would have gone along as they had always gone along, and would have just maintained the type of relationship that I had with my family. But that relationship, all those different relationships, to me, were not fulfilling in any way, the way that they were. They were shallow. They were just very surface relationships, the things that we talked about, the things that my family felt comfortable talking about with me. There was nothing deep or meaningful in our conversations. And so I could have maintained that. But there was something really missing from my life in those relationships. And the thing that I'm mourning the most is losing the dream of what my relationship could have been with my family. That's the most painful part, because I feel like it could have been much deeper. And you know what? Maybe it will be someday, but it's not going to be on those terms. It's not going to be through a lens of judgment, that I'm not doing what they think I should be doing, what they believe is the truth. So yes, I could have kept my mouth shut. Everything would have gone along status quo. And but I will also say how hypocritical that is, because when they felt like they learned the truth, they didn't keep their mouth shut. Oh no, they were out every week preaching and telling people that they belong to Babylon the Great, that from, you know, the platform, preaching against false religion, and to their families, trying to convince them that they didn't have the true religion, to the point where my grandparents were very upset when my mother became a witness, because they were losing the opportunity to be able to celebrate with my parents and their grandchildren. So they didn't keep their mouths shut. And that was to the detriment of the relationship with my grandparents, my mom's parents, who were Southern Baptist, and to the detriment not from their point of view, because they never shunned my parents. They never cut off relationship. But it was very upsetting for them to be constantly preached at, especially in the beginning when my parents first became witnesses. And in order to keep peace in the family, they were told by another family member that, listen, if we want to have peace in our family, you're going to have to stop all the religion talk, because it was just too divisive. And but they still, you know, took every opportunity that they had to try to witness. And so they didn't keep their mouth shut. So why should I? Why should I keep my mouth shut when I feel like I've learned something that is something that all witnesses should know? Listen, if you have the truth, then any scrutiny of your beliefs should be able to stand up to truth if you have it. So what does it matter if I talk against it, if I'm pointing out things, fallacies within your religion, what does that matter? Why is it so harmful to what you believe? If you have the truth, then you should just be able to say, you know what, you can believe what you believe, I believe what I believe, and I'm going to continue to tell people what I believe, and you can do whatever you want to do, but we love each other and we can just agree to disagree. And basically that's what my grandparents did. They were Southern Baptist and never believed, obviously, what my parents believed, but they were able to maintain the relationships and, you know, still display love. So that's one of the things that I've been thinking about lately. Just feeling sad, mourning the loss of those relationships, and not knowing if we'll ever rebuild anything. It would be very sad to have to wait till people are dying. Maybe they'll wake up then and realize what they've lost. But really the hardest part for me is I have nephews and nieces who are now early 20s. Some of them are still teenagers. And those relationships right now are on hold, obviously. And I feel very sad about that. That is very sad to me, that they're not allowed to talk to me. And even those who are adults are probably afraid to talk with me, and they've been filled with so much fear, and now being displayed to them what shunning looks like, being shunned by their grandparents and by their parents. So they probably are afraid of that happening to them. And I understand that. That's a very real risk. And, you know, I feel sorry for them, because I feel like one day they're really going to regret their actions. And I think that they will eventually feel very sad over how they have behaved, and that they're going to see the truth about the truth. And they're going to see that I wasn't just some crazy person, that I actually knew things that they didn't know. So I feel sorry for the realization that they're going to have one day. Although I do hope they have that realization, even though it's painful. I believe that it's worth it. It's worth it to know. And so another thing that I've been thinking about is how I'm trying to live my truth. And for many years I did celebrate birthdays, my own, other people's. I've celebrated the holidays for the past, I don't know, 6-7 years. And I didn't tell anybody in my family for obvious reasons. But it wasn't because I felt ashamed or felt like I had something to hide. I didn't feel guilty about it. I just didn't want to hurt their feelings. I didn't want to make them uncomfortable or for them to feel bad about it. So I hid it, you know, I guess you could say I hid it because I didn't tell them. But, you know, it's what we've done, and we feel no shame about it, because although it was strange in the beginning to start doing those things, I started to realize what the point of all of that sort of is, and that it's a celebration of life, the celebration of time passing by, that as witnesses we really had no celebrations. Not really. We celebrated anniversaries in my family. Some families don't even do that. But, you know, that was the one thing that we did do. But other holidays, I've just found you know, no matter what their roots have been, because there's pagan roots in every single thing that we do in our lives. I mean, you can take any single tradition in the world and you can trail it back to some kind of pagan beginning. So, but the point of it, I found, was to be around family, to express love to your family, and to have traditions as families. And that was one thing that was really lacking from my life is traditions. And one reason why I always felt blue around the holidays, you know, just felt like we just really had no family traditions. And then I started to think about it. I'm like, the Israelites had celebrations all through the year. They had different festivals. And don't you think with those festivals there were certain foods that they ate, that maybe they used certain decorations at that time? I'm sure of it, but either way. So, being a witness, no traditions. And those are things that I treasure now. I mean, I don't go all out, you know, I'm not going to go all crazy for, you know, spending money on the holidays and whatever. But it is a nice time of year. It is a nice time to acknowledge the people that you love, sending them a card, giving them a gift, whatever it may be. And, you know, I feel no pressure to live up to any, you know, expectation about what that's supposed to be. I just do what feels right to me. And so, anyways. So, what else do I have to say? I feel like I do have a lot to say, and I've been holding a lot of stuff in lately, and I don't think that's been good for me. So maybe we will start making videos again. But I'm going to be quite busy over the next month, so probably not going to be making any videos. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But, you know, the other part of that, why I haven't been making videos, is it just got to be too much emotionally, hearing all of these stories, very sad stories of abuse, and people who their lives have been ruined by this religion. And it's a very real thing, and it just is very sad. And so I just had to really take a break and step back and just reassess, like, what am I doing? You know, why did I even start this? And I've had all of those feelings, and, you know, like I said, why did I start this? You know, if I would have, you know, those words of my parents, if you would have just kept your mouth shut. But I know that I did the right thing, and I don't have any regrets about that. But, you know, in your moments of sadness, you do tend to think about things, but in the end, what I want is real relationships with people. I want honesty. I want acceptance and love, unconditional love from people. And, you know, that doesn't happen in this religion. It just doesn't. I think I always knew that. I think, in fact, I know for me that growing up and all the times when I wanted to leave the religion, that I knew that I would lose the love of my family if I left. And if you look at it from, you know, a psychological point of view, we are, you know, we're creatures that need love, and that love means survival. And you look at prehistoric man, that if you did not have the acceptance of the community, because we are communal creatures and we rely on each other for survival, that lack of love and that lack of community would mean your death. You would be left out in the cold to fend for yourself, and you probably wouldn't last a long time by yourself. So if we're talking, all right, this is a word that some of you are not going to like, but if we're talking from an evolutionary point of view of how our brains have evolved and what we've evolved to need as human beings or feel that we need, then losing those relationships is like losing your life. But guess what? Even though psychologically you feel like that is going to be the loss of your life, it's not. And there is life out there. And you can rebuild a life and build the one that you want. And that's what I've been doing over the past few years, and especially over the past 2 years. I've been building the life that I want and the friendships that I'm not being forced into out of they're my brother and I have to accept them and I have to love them and I have to associate with them just because they're a witness. So I have grown to love myself so much more, and to realize what I will tolerate from other people and what I won't tolerate from other people, and the people that I choose to have in my life. So I have a lot to say still. I'm realizing that as I'm making this video, and I don't know how much of this I'm going to end up cutting out because it's very personal. I'm sharing a lot of personal stuff. I want to be happy. And I am happy, actually. I am happy. Although I've been a little bit blue lately. That's normal. And I accept that about myself. I still love and accept myself despite that. So I guess in conclusion of this video, which has probably been very discombobulated. Maybe I'm out of practice. That's probably what it is. But anyways, in conclusion, you know, they're not going to scare me back into the religion. And the thing that was also said to me was, if we don't shun people, then how will they ever come back? How will they ever come back? Well, if you have to try to destroy somebody's life by shunning them and removing their family and their entire social network in order to get them to come back to a belief system that they don't believe in, don't you think there's something wrong? There is something seriously sick about that. And to believe that you can destroy somebody's life, and they don't even see it as destroying somebody's life, and they're not destroying my life. I'm okay. But there are people out there who have really suffered from being shunned because they didn't have anybody else in their life. And I mean, I really didn't either, other than Mike. I didn't have a social network at all established before I stopped going to the meetings. So I know how I suffered. But if you think that by disfellowshipping, and for someone who's not disfellowshipped but is dangerous, and now they're even talking about people who are inactive, and that, you know, people are starting to shun even those people. If you think that that is a loving and sane way of getting someone to want to come back to your belief system, there is something seriously wrong with you if you believe that that is an effective and loving way to get someone to come back. And to my family, I'm never coming back. And I said this 10 years ago. I'm never coming back because I don't believe it. So your efforts of shunning are all in vain, because they're not changing me. They're not changing me to want to come back. It will never serve that purpose. What other purpose is there as a protection for you? If you have the truth, if you believe it's the truth, I'm not going to talk about it to you. I'm not going to say anything to you about your beliefs. I don't want those conversations. I don't need those conversations with you. So you can still believe what you want to believe, and I will love you. I just don't understand how what I think and I believe is dangerous to you if you believe that you have the truth. I don't see how I'm a threat. I have friends who have really different beliefs than I do. But I don't find that threatening. I listen. I might see where they have valid points about something, but in the end, I believe what I want to believe. And any threats to other people in my life, other family members, the young ones, people outside my family, I don't understand what you're doing. So I'm still in the angry stage, I guess, a little bit. And as a protection to myself, I've had to sort of shut my heart off to you guys. And I hate that I've had to do that. I really hate that, because I feel like that I'm using it as a protection, but in the end, I think it's harming me. And I can see how it's not healthy for me. So, I mean, I am sort of divorcing myself from you guys. And I know I said I would keep the door open, but how much rejection can a person take? You know, and I'm just not a Zen master. I'm not perfect. I'm not, you know, I have feelings. I'm a human being. And so I've had to shut my heart down to you guys. And I really hate that. I really hate that, because I don't want to be like that. I want to be a loving person. I want to show unconditional love, and I want to remain a kind and compassionate person. And I feel like by doing that, it's been hurting me, and it's been affecting the way that I'm even treating other people in my life. And I really hate that. I really hate that. And I don't want to be like that. So I'm working through all of that. Well, I have rambled on a lot in this video. And I just have had to get some things off my chest. I'm not even sure that I was able to really do it justice. I feel like I haven't even done justice to the things that I want to say. And I'm having to really bite my tongue, because I'm still angry. I'm in the angry phase of my morning. And there's things that I would love to say, but I don't think it would be beneficial to do it. I don't think it would serve any purpose. And I'm not trying to hurt them. Even though they're hurting me, I'm not trying to hurt them. So I think I'm just going to have to conclude this video and say thank you again for if you've written to us, and apologies that I haven't gotten back to you. And I'm working through stuff. I'm working through stuff. That's all I can say. And I'm not a therapist, and you know, I know sometimes people just need to be heard, and I understand that. It's challenging though to me to try to keep up with everything, and you know, we're just doing the best we can. So until next time, whenever that may be, bye.